Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the world of abalone. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's that fancy shellfish you see on expensive menus.
Right.
But trust me, there's so much more to these creatures than just being a pricey delicacy.
Oh, absolutely.
Where should we even start?
Well, maybe with the fact that they've been a food source for us humans for like a really long time.
Really?
Yeah. We're talking 100,000 years ago in South Africa, 12,000 years ago on the California Channel Islands, abalone was on the menu.
Wow. That's incredible. So they were feeding early humans way back then.
Exactly. It shows just how important abalone has been across different cultures and throughout history. And you know what?
Right.
Even today, there are indigenous groups in Africa, New Zealand, and the Americas who still have these traditions of eating abalone.
So it's not just some trendy foodie thing.
Not at all.
Okay, so let's break it down. What exactly is an abalone? I think a lot of people picture it as like a big mussel in a shell, kind of like a clam.
Yeah, I can see why people would think that.
Right.
But actually, it's a bit more complicated.
Okay.
They're gastropods, which means they're more closely related to snails and sea slugs.
Wait, snails? Really?
I know, right? It's surprising.
That's not what I was picturing at all.
But when you think about it, they both have that one shell structure.
I guess so, yeah.
The abalone's shell is just wider, flatter, perfect for clinging onto rocks.
So that single shell is how they protect themselves.
Exactly. They can't just close up like a clam. They have to use their super strong muscle to hold on tight and basically seal themselves in.
That's a serious crap.
Oh, yeah. There's even a Japanese saying that describes it as like the one-sided love of the abalone on the rocks.
Oh, that's kind of poetic. It really paints a picture.
Right.
This creature holding on for dear life in the ocean. But it's not just about defense, is it? That unique anatomy plays a big role in like the whole kelp forest ecosystem, right?
Oh, you're absolutely right. You know how kelp forests are struggling with all those sea urchins eating everything?
Yeah, it's a big problem.
Well, abalone actually help keep those urchin populations in check.
So they're like battling it out for the kelp.
Not exactly a battle. They target different parts of the kelp. Sea urchins go after the holdfast, the part that anchors the kelp to the seafloor, wipes out the whole plant.
Oh, I see.
Abalone, though, they mostly just munch on kelp debris that's already fallen down.
So they're more like the cleanup crew.
That's a great way to put it. But there's another character in this whole kelp forest story we need to talk about. The sea otters.
Ooh, sea otters. Now we're talking.
I know, right? Sea otters are natural predators of both sea urchins and abalone.
Okay.
They help keep everything balanced.
Right.
But because of, humans overfishing,
Yeah.
both sea otters and abalone, it's really thrown things off.
Oh, so now there are too many sea urchins.
Exactly. And that means trouble for the kelp forests.
Makes sense. It's like messing with one part of the system affects everything else.
That's exactly it.
Nature's pretty intricate, huh?
Oh, for sure. But speaking of human impact, we have to talk about the illegal abalone trade.
Ooh. Yeah, things are about to get a little shady.
Well, unfortunately, yeah. The high demand for abalone, especially the dried kind, it's created this whole black market.
I've heard about that.
And one of the hot spots is South Africa. That's where they have this species called Haliotis midday.
Okay.
It's really vulnerable, too.
So we're talking like endangered abalone.
Yeah, pretty much. And South Africa has these strict fishing quotas, to try and protect them. But the quotas mostly benefit big companies.
Oh, I see.
The local fishermen, though, they struggle.
So they're more likely to get pulled into this illegal trade.
Exactly. It's easy money when organized crime is waving cash in your face for illegally caught abalone.
It's like a whole social and economic angle on top of the environmental stuff.
It is. It all gets tangled up together. And a lot of this abalone, they dry it and smuggle it to places like Hong Kong.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's considered a luxury item there, especially for Chinese cuisine.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But why dried abalone? What makes it so special?
Well, they say it has a richer flavor than fresh abalone, and the texture is different, too. Plus, it's hard to get legally, so the price goes way up, which just makes it even more desirable.
Like a status symbol almost.
Exactly.
Wow. So culture and economics are putting this huge pressure on a species.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Okay, so back to abalone for a second.
Right.
What about those little holes you see on the shell?
Oh, those are respiratory pores.
Respiratory pores.
Yeah, they're super important for the abalone to, breathe and get rid of waste.
So those tiny holes are how they breathe.
Yeah. They're like this multi-purpose system. Water flows in, brings oxygen, and then waste goes out the same way. And get this,
What?
they even use those pores for reproduction.
Really?
Yeah, both male and female abalone release their, sperm and eggs through those pores.
Oh, that's a lot going on in those little holes.
Uh,
It's amazing how they've evolved to use them for so many things.
it really is.
But survival's getting tougher for them these days, isn't it? With all the threats they're facing.
Unfortunately, yeah. One of the worst is withering syndrome.
Withering syndrome, what's that?
It's this disease that makes the abalone's foot muscle, wither away.
So they can't move.
Exactly. Basically, they're crippled.
Yeah.
And the worst part is the bacteria that cause it,
Yeah.
they thrive in warmer water.
Oh, no. Climate change is making it worse.
I'm afraid so.
That's scary.
And there's another one called abalone viral ganglioneuritis.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
Right. It's causing a lot of deaths in abalone populations.
Both of those sound pretty serious. Are they affecting farmed abalone too?
Yep. Both wild and farmed.
It seems like it's a race against time to figure out how to stop these diseases.
Yeah, definitely. Scientists are working hard, though.
Hopefully they can find solutions before it's too late. But hey, remember how we were talking about farmed abalone earlier?
Yeah.
Isn't that a good thing?
Well, it has potential, definitely.
Right, like for sustainability and all that.
For sure. A big plus is that they can be raised eating natural stuff like kelp and seaweed.
Oh, so less environmental impact compared to other types of, aquaculture.
Exactly. And they do great on that natural diet.
Yeah.
So you don't need to pump them full of antibiotics or hormones.
That's a relief.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe abalone farming could help with the overfishing problem.
It could, yeah. It's not a simple solution, though.
I figure there had to be some challenges.
Abalone's are pretty picky when it comes to water temperature.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they need things just right. And with, climate change and all, it can be tricky to keep the water conditions perfect.
Makes sense.
But people are coming up with creative solutions.
Like that north-south transfer method.
Yeah, exactly. Moving the abalone between different areas to keep them in the best temperatures year-round.
It's cool that people are thinking outside the box like that.
Yeah.
So if most of the abalone we eat is farmed, why is poaching still such a problem?
Well, even though 95% is farmed, there's still a demand for those rare, wild varieties, And that keeps the poaching going.
So it's like we're trying to balance meeting the demand for abalone while also protecting the wild ones.
It is a delicate balance, that's for sure.
So what else can we do about this whole illegal trade thing?
Well, we need everyone to work together, internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Cracking down on smuggling, tougher law enforcement, better technology to catch them.
Okay.
But honestly, one of the most important things is making people aware.
Like educating consumers.
Exactly. If people know what's going on and how their choices affect things, it can really make a difference.
So what can we, as consumers, do to make sure we're choosing abalone from good sources?
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
At a restaurant, you mean?
Yep.
Yep.
If you see abalone on the menu, find out where it came from, how it was raised, all that.
Good point.
And support businesses that are doing things the right way,
Yeah.
The ones that are transparent and ethical. Because every time you buy something, it's like casting a vote.
That's a good way to think about it.
So, choosing sustainable seafood. It's a vote for healthy oceans.
And for the creatures that live in them.
Absolutely.
This has been a really eye-opening deep dive into the world of abalone. We've covered so much from their ancient history and weird anatomy to all the problems they're facing now and, that whole black market thing.
It's a fascinating story, isn't it?
It really is. And it shows how everything's connected, how human actions can impact a species and the whole ecosystem. Learning about that illegal abalone trade has really made me think about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
Wildlife trafficking.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge problem.
It's kind of scary to think about how many species are involved in all that.
It's not just abalone, that's for sure. It's a global issue. And these criminal networks, they're not messing around. They're sophisticated,
Yeah.
operating across borders, exploiting animals and ecosystems, all for profit.
It's depressing, honestly. So what can we even do about something that big?
Well, it's a tough one for sure. One of the biggest challenges is just how big and complicated these operations are.
Right.
We're talking multiple countries, corrupt officials, tons of money flowing around.
Yeah, sounds overwhelming.
It takes a massive effort to even make a dent. We need law enforcement, governments, conservation groups, everyone working together.
Okay, so international cooperation is key. What else? What are people actually doing to fight back against these, criminal masterminds?
Well, they're starting to focus more on the money.
Hit them where it hurts.
Exactly. Disrupting their financial flows, seizing their assets, going after the big bosses.
Makes sense. If it's not profitable, they'll move on to something else.
Right. That's the idea. And technology's playing a big role now, too.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, like, they can use DNA analysis to figure out where seized abalone came from.
Oh, wow.
It's like detective work.
Right.
And that can be really helpful evidence in court, to go after the smugglers.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they're using satellites to watch for poaching hotspots and track suspicious ships.
So we've got science on our side.
Definitely. But here's the thing. We can bust all the smugglers we want,
Yeah.
but if people are still willing to pay crazy prices for endangered species,
Right.
problem's not going away.
So it comes back to demand, doesn't it? We got to change people's mindsets.
Exactly. It's about education, awareness, promoting sustainability, helping people understand that protecting wildlife isn't just some feel-good thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's about protecting our whole planet, our own well-being.
It's all connected. Well, I think this deep dive has really brought that message home. We've learned so much about abalone, from ancient history to modern-day challenges, from their amazing adaptations to their role in the ecosystem.
They're incredible creatures, aren't they?
They really are. And it's up to us to protect them. So to all our listeners out there, we encourage you, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep making choices that support conservation, whether it's abalone or any other species.
Every little bit helps.
Absolutely. Let's work together to create a future where abalone and all the amazing creatures out there can thrive. Thanks for joining us, Lay.